What's going on? What's going on? You already know what time it is. I am Eugene Napoleon. This is Relatively Sports with yours truly. Listen, today we have probably one of my, how would I say this? I've been representing this individual for a great many years now. And before I introduce him, I'm gonna let you know he actually is a Mountaineer fan. You understand? So anything we do in Relatively Sports, it's going to have a tie in some way, shape, or form with the great state of West Virginia and our fine university. So this individual is one of the reasons why the basketball company back in the day, known as And One Street Basketball Series, I'm pretty sure everybody of a certain age would know what And One is. This particular person is one of the major reasons why And One was successful. He is the Michael Jordan of street basketball, none other than Waliyy Dixon, A.K.A. the main event. I have him on my show, and we're going to kick it with him right now for a few minutes. Let's go Mountaineers. Let's have some fun. And here he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Waliyy Dixon, A.K.A. the main event. What's going on, bro?
Oh man, I can't call him, man. We complain if we complain, who gonna listen to us? So day by day, God gave us the breath of fresh air. So I'm blessed.
I know that's right. Listen, I was telling the fans to let them understand that somewhere down the road, even though you chose Rutgers, you was somewhat of a West Virginia fan. I kind of threw that out there.
Yeah, I like the colors. And that
I
you
kind
went
of threw
there.
that out there. So people understand, they know what your celebrity status has been over the years because of street basketball and because of what you've done for street basketball. In the beginning, when you think of the success of And One in the brand, how would you put that together as it relates to main event and you what you helped them to achieve as a company?
What I helped them achieve as a company, I think is a little bit different. Far as if you have a business, you have to have a business plan. Let's just go with a 5-year business plan. But what happened was when you're dealing with the culture, see, we were birthed from the culture. So the business guys wasn't birthed from the culture. So they really didn't understand that it's more than basketball. You're saving lives, you're changing the community environments, you're changing people thinking. So I think And One was more of a sponsor to the street basketball culture. When people say, oh, And One changed the way that the NBA is playing right now, it was the players. I thank And One for the opportunity to be able to take street basketball on a worldwide scale. Street basketball has been here. So I think just knowing about the culture and being accessible to the culture is the people have to own the culture. The people have to own that genre.
Right. And you know what? That's a good answer because switching gears a little bit, I don't think people really understood when you get the misnomer that a street basketball player is just that. It's a whole bunch of tricks. They don't really understand the fundamental ways of playing basketball. You smashed all of that because you're a basketball player. You're not just a street basketball player. No, give people some of the understandings of how you came up really playing this game.
See, street basketball for me, it wasn't no jokes around. It wasn't no playing around. If you go to the park and it's the old school, I got next, and you got your 5 when you get picked up, you couldn't do illegal moves. So what happened was, if you think about Rucker Park, I played at Rucker Park for 11 years. I think Mousy Carrera, they call him Mousy, Mousy's Dream Team, and also Coach Bad Boy. So I played against guys like legends, to where they was able to, the key to the street baller, especially the legend, he or she is able to pull off something exciting within the confines of the rules. Where And One, the first maybe 3 years, we would say, we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime, right? Because we were using that platform to try to get overseas. Because in the 90s, you had to have footage. A lot of guys had different situations. I like to say we all have a story with different music behind it. So when And One said, you know what? They started getting different players, and they was more like a showman. It wasn't street basketball. I think people got confused with street ball and show ball. Street basketball is you can't even practice as far as what you're going to do because every environment is different. So I think The style of play is hard nosed. You know, you have a little flair. For me, personally, for me, I looked at the basketball court as a canvas, and my artwork was what I portrayed. The way I played was my artwork, but the court was my canvas. So I never went out there to joke around. But as the years went on, you could see how and1 became kind of like watered down, premeditated. That's why I came to you, was like, yo, I'm getting flack from the fans and parents, and they telling me that we're messing up their child, you're getting cut from the team. And I said, Nat, what could you do? You said, what do you want to do? I said, let's do a video. And we did the video with Sports School to show the basics. You gotta have the basics of basketball, not street basketball. And that's what how it fell off and how, you know, differentiated.
I tell you, and that was fun. That whole foundational piece and teaching kids, no. This is real. This is how you dribble. This is how you make a left-hand layup. You're 100% right. And that's anything in business, as far as anything that you're trying to establish, you have to have a foundation point to it. And you've always been that. Here's what I love. Everything you're doing now currently with your business ventures and these different things, it's always from an educational piece, man. I love that. Speak on where you are right now as far as the company and the things that you're building right now.
So knowing that and being a part of, like I say, the birth of the culture, being a part of that, let's say, I'm gonna break it down like this. Let's say you have stickball. You know, stickball, you go in the schoolyard, you play stickball. Some guys got an opportunity to go to the Major League Baseball. Football, you play free fall football on the turf, on the grass. But then you have basketball, street ball. Some guys got an opportunity to go to the NBA. But no one never took time to say, hold on, let's bring value to where it actually starts. It starts on the blacktop. And when I say bring value, is getting the community involved. Like with the Blacktop Association, is more than just basketball. You know, we're talking about prison reform. We're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about reverse gentrification. Because if the people don't understand, they're going to continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over. So you have someone coming in saying, you know what? The community has to be a part of this. We're not Robin Hoods. We want to go into different communities and assist into the programs that work and also fix the programs that's not working. So we're not coming to take over, and we're just using basketball to get the message out there.
I'm gonna tell you something, and it's interesting, and this is what I'm talking about, and that's why all these years, it's so funny that the reason why you are as successful as you are, because it's not even just a point of making money doing anything that you do. It's the point of you have the heart and you have the due diligence and the driven structure to get it done on a different level. It's levels to everything. And
Yes.
you and I talk about this all the time. But
Yes.
funny thing is, I sit back and I'm so amazed and so appreciative to watch you move and how you move, because there's a heart to this thing.
Yes.
And you bring people along because it's like, look, yeah, it's a cultural experience for me, but I want to educate you too on how you can do the same exact thing.
Yes.
Your ability to transcend from the basketball court into the business world, into the corporate world, now into getting other people with the street, with the Blacktop Association, you're bringing other people to this. Speak on it from the ownership standpoint, from some of the former players that you brought on board.
So if you think of different sports and the athletes, they pay the athlete to play the sport. Our athletes, even our team, you know, we ask them, what's 3 things you want to do besides what you're doing now? So we want them to be entrepreneurs. And the base of the company, the foundation, is God, generational wealth, and residual income. So we're not just telling you to come play, come be an owner. No, we want to advance. We want to build legacies. So what I did was, the guys who dedicated so much to the culture, for example, Skip to My Lou and Air Up There out of Houston, they own that franchise. So we're coming back as owners, not only as owners. See, with me is, I'm glad you hit on that. The thing with me is this: with money or without money, the passion is the same. See, a lot of people let their feelings and their emotions dictate behind money and finances. My passion will be the same. You can't get it out of me, because God put us here to say, listen, I'm going to use you as a vessel to communicate with people. And I thank him for that. So 90% of the team franchise owners is guys that was on the and1, or guys that was reputable and did a lot for the culture. When you said about and1 earlier, I look at it as like Michael Jordan, something that Brian Crawford, my cousin, one of my first coaches, he said, listen, He said, guys have to go into the game of whatever sport it is, not for what the game can do for them, but what you can do for the game. And that's what I want to do. What did I do for the culture? I changed the dynamics of the culture. And as the people was involved, so you can see it. To go do an event, you know, I've turned down many different deals because a team, a promoter may say, listen, bring the guys here, playing the game, and then you leave. I can't do it. I have to get there Thursday. If the game's Saturday, I got to be there Thursday to go into the community.
Again, that's something that a lot of people don't understand. And each one teach one. So what I've learned just from over the years, representing you, dealing with you, and seeing how you move, you're one of the few people that I know in any sport, any professional sport, that can leave, get on a plane, and literally fly overseas and still have the same type of love. And that's because it's all about the energy that you give out. People receive that. How many times have you gone with Ad One over to different places and everybody else, the cameras over here, like, nah, don't bring the cameras in here. We're going over here.
Yes.
It's so important because you want the community to be involved. And I'm hoping that people start to really understand that. It's not just the one thing. Every time you take something, you make it, you have it grow this way. Mm-hmm. It's not a straight line with you. It grows this way. And I love that temperament. I love that. I know me growing up, my mom has always taught me, listen, when God bless you with something, then you're the steward of what that is, but it's up to you to take it and make it grow, to populate it, right?
Yes.
Where did you get that teaching from?
I have to give credit to my grandmother. You know, I had both of my parents in my life, but they never lived together, you know. So just learning from the foundation, you know, to sit with my grandmother, to see things that I was young, I didn't understand it until I got older. We had an attic. And the attic would have so many clothes. She would get clothes and clothes. But I would see her go out and give things out, just giving. And we had, listen, right before she paid the game some, we had government cheese. So we had cheese, grilled cheese that was lopsided because we didn't have a cutter, you know. So the black and white raisin boxes. So even though we didn't have much, she showed that you have to look out for those that you can assist. And then my mom, she gives out to the homeless. She's in South Carolina. My dad, God rest him, we would be in a restaurant, and some reason he would just look back. And when we leave, he say, listen, take care of those 5 tables. So I learned from so many different ways. It's better to give than receive. You know, if I can't give it to you or give you advice, let's figure it out together collectively. It's just been a blessing because a lot of people get caught up into their everyday routine. Get up, go to work, go to school, but you have to take a look on the outside end and be like, wait a minute, I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference. And like you said, going overseas, they will give us an itinerary, and the itinerary will have things we have to do as well as places not to go. So I'll be like, listen, man, we got to go where they said don't go. And you know what I saw where they said don't go? It was poverty. I could relate to that. They can't relate to that. I can relate to it. So I go there and I talk to them. That's why I'm able to, I think, talk about different topics. You know, I don't follow sports, so I never really talk about sports because I'll be lying. If I would have to watch ESPN to catch up. I think people say they're not role models. If you have people that's going to dress like you, talk like you, act like you are a role model, and you have to lead by example because someone is always watching.
Man, listen, you know, you and I, we get on the phone, we get on a tangent because we start talking about these sort of things, and these are general topics for us.
Yes.
But that's why I want the fans to really get a clear understanding that you've always been more than just an athlete or a basketball player to me. And I'm gonna share this, and it's funny. When my first book came out, it was a bestseller, that Dream Real book, and we did the tour with Verizon Wireless.
Yes.
The reason why that was so beneficial, like you said, to touch back on the topic of being able to go and speak on different topics, we were just being authentic and sharing our different upbringings from different parts of, you know, I grew up in Jersey City, you grew up, you know, but the kids really got it. We came from 2 different places, both very successful, but we didn't mind sharing that information. I think one of the biggest problems now, people don't want to share their real stories. Everything is so made up and so fake. I don't understand, like, and I've always known you to be genuine, 100% authentic. What you see is what you get. That's why Main Event is so loved. I get it. I know it. How do you see people that won't give it, like just give it authentically, just give it back without being fake?
I think they feel as though they may be looked at different. Well, my thing is, if I could share something with someone, I feel as though we shouldn't have to go through something out of vain. We should better tell someone, listen, we just left a bar. I went first. If you get to the light, there's a roadblock. I got into the roadblock, but I'm gonna tell my man or whoever, yo, listen, make a right before you get to the light if you ain't right. A lot of people just want to, like, for example, Michael Jordan, right? I'll bring him up. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, God rest him, LeBron James. See, we see the finished product, Steph Curry. We don't see the hard work that they put in. They think you could just go out there and play. No, these guys are working nonstop. They're taking care of their bodies. See, we don't see that part. So my situation was, a lot of kids ask me, why do you make it to the NBA? I tell them, I didn't take school serious. I didn't take education serious. And hopefully it can help them. So to be real with them, they could feel it. I'm not reading off a cue card. I don't know nobody that do. Everything comes from the heart because every crowd is different. You have to be able to adapt to your audience. You feed off of them. You watch and see. Like I always say, if there's anybody that don't want to be in this auditorium, I want to play fair. You can leave. Remember, we had a couple kids leave, and who we want to speak to at the end? Those kids.
Those kids.
Because if we can change them, you got it. Everybody is a leader at some capacity. But you have to be able to go back to the simplicity. I want for you what I want for myself. And I was sharing my stories. I broke my leg in a car accident. I was drinking and driving. I shared that story. Don't drink and drive. But on the spiritual side, I was moving around and God said, hold up, let me slow you down a little bit. So I thank him for they said I would never play again. God said, no, work out for a year, train your body back, and I came back playing. So I don't mind sharing a story. And I think it's also a lot of people don't want to assist someone because they may not benefit from it. See, you might call me and say, hey, Juan, listen, my boy want to get his house painted. I'll be like, nah, I don't paint houses, but I definitely know somebody that do. And I don't want nothing. I'll make a call. I'll be the contractor. See, we have to change our cultural thinking. You know, it's not us against them against us. We have to rebuild the village. The village took care of us. The new generation, I think we might be the tail end, the 40s, 50s. The village took care of us. We have to be home by the street lights, not on the porch, in the house. So we have to get back to those values. The things that's corny is the things that can save your life.
Man, listen. Oh, you said a mouthful there. And those are the things that I get back to now, when this is why having you on my show is so important, because it's the value system. It's what you, like you said, it's what you grew up on. I grew up understanding the core values of being respectful, doing what you say you're going to do, being a person of your word, being honorable, those things, right? My mother didn't play that. That's what it was. So I thank her to the grave she went for that core value system. And you spoke to something about the educational piece, man, which I think we're fighting an uphill battle. You know, if you don't mind, speak to that. What would you tell a young person that thinks, you know, getting to the NBA is that's all it is, and there is nothing in between? I got to make it to the league. What would you say to what advice would you give to someone like that?
Well, not only do I want to give it to the athlete or just student, period, but also especially the children that come from what they call the inner cities. I don't know what the inner city is. I guess the neighborhood, you know. The parents have to stop putting so much pressure on the athletes. You know, you're gonna be the one to get us out. We hear that a lot. So that kid's going there, like you said, I have to make it to the league. But you have to have a plan A and plan B. And I'm not saying you may get hurt, but you have to have those plans, and the same energy you put into want to make it to the league, there's things that go with it. See, it's a traditional route. The traditional route is that hopefully you be good enough to do something where you don't have to take a burden off your family, you get a scholarship. But when you get that scholarship, the business starts. When you sign that scholarship, your likeness, your image, the business starts. See, I was a liability. Well, I should have been full courage. And the liability is that I don't know what he's going to do. So a school, you could be the greatest player, but that university is going to get the guy that's a full coverage because they can teach him or her how to play a sport. So take it serious. Surround yourself with the geeks, the corny ones, because those are the ones that's going to be the CEO of the Fortune 5 companies and things like that. Do not let no one dictate who you are. See, in life, imagine if everybody was who God had them to be versus being someone else. The world would be so interesting. I didn't stop wearing jerseys because Jay-Z said you over 40, wear a button up. No way. I'm who I am. And if everybody was who God molded them to be, this world would be so interesting because you would meet different type of people of all different walks of life, and you could share with one another, you could bond with one another. That's where the things get crazy. So like I say, once again, we have to help be a part of the narrative and change the cultural thinking. Just as much as we see guys getting praised, they have a party, they're getting incarcerated, right? They have a party before they go. They have a party when they come home. But what about the kid that's doing right? What is the reward for the kid that's doing right from the community? It has to be a reward. Everyone shouldn't have to go through being homeless or got this dramatic story. It can happen, but we have to reward those that's doing the right thing. We have to reward them, not just saying they're supposed to, but we have to reward them. We have to pat them on their back. We have to encourage them. That's very important.
Man. That's very true. And that's the thing. And I agree 100% because the kid that's working hard, being diligent, being a diligent student, studying, whatever the case may be, that kid is looking at the other joker who's the class clown. And for some reason, we shift gears. We shift the attention, you putting it on the kid that's the class clown because you're trying to get him, trying to get him or her to do the right thing. Meanwhile, the straight A student, they're looking over there like, well, dang, I get straight A's. Ain't nobody saying nothing to me. So that is so important.
I was a class clown. You know why I was a class clown? Because I wasn't prepared for class. So I got to deter my situation because I didn't study for the test. I didn't do the homework, and that's how you try to take it away from what you're supposed to be doing. So if I didn't do that, they're going to say, yo, get out the class, go to the principal. But how about that kid that's doing the right thing? That kid that's doing the right thing. Because what happens is that the person who may be the class clown or not really interested in school for whatever reason, when they see that kid getting rewarded, you get a sticker. Think about it, they do it, but it has to be promoted more. Okay, you got a sticker. Some kids never gonna get that star sticker, right? So we have to congratulate them and oh man, and interact and teach them. Because what happens is when you're young, you're going to get bad habits. As you mature, hopefully don't go too far to where those bad habits will carry over. The bad habits carried over with me. Just not understanding the importance. Now people say, oh, people was millionaires, self-made millionaires without no school. But guess what? I tell them, it's better to have than not have.
Come on now. Absolutely. I've been around and you've been around. We've both been around and people that have been very, very successful on that level monetarily. But when you look at the core value system of those individuals, they're not really happy people. So you kind of figure out, well, something along the way was missing. And this is what we talk about with understanding your culture, understanding where you come from, and being authentically you. You can't pay, I don't care how much money you have, you can't pay for happiness.
No.
That's for sure.
They change friends all the time. They got new circles all the time. It's a perception. But once again, it goes back to who you are. See, the outside of me is one thing, but the inside dictates how I do, how I be. Passion, kind to someone. You can't like pour something on me and tell me it's raining. I'm not dumb. I also was raised, I was grounded, as to be a man, but it's just times has changed. And the things that we glorify isn't worth glorifying. We have to correct those situations. People say, oh, I'm tougher than you because you grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in the projects. Hold up. Yes, you may have had a little bit different, but let's go back to the project. If grandma grew up in the project, she was a part of the project. It was a project. So I shouldn't be there with my children because we want the ones that need that assistance to have that assistance, but it's not supposed to be permanent.
God bless you. That perspective is very deep. And again, it's these type of shows, perspectives, conversations, dialogue that I'm hoping will transcend and help people to understand. It's not where you are today, it's where you should be tomorrow. And you can progress to be there by working hard, putting together a solid game plan, and doing the things necessary to get there.
Yes.
I have a few more minutes left, but I want you to plug something. You have something coming up at the end of the month that's very big. If you don't mind, share with my audience what you got coming up at the end of the month.
Yes, August 20th in North New Jersey in front of City Hall. We're building a hardwood court. It's a blacktop festival. Everything dealing with the culture of street basketball. Of course, the community, things for the kids, one-on-one, the game of rough, dunk contests, the entertainment, but it's also an educational component. You know, it's just we can have fun. Think about this. Let's say we go to it could be an R&B concert, gospel concert, whatever it is, right? The announcer come there, he may say little things, and he's gonna announce the person that's gonna come to perform. You have all these people there. You're not giving them a positive message, even if it's get home safe. Because they evidently they're gonna listen because you have them there. You have them there. And what you said about tomorrow, we have to learn from today to help us with issues that may come up tomorrow. It's just not going through life phases. You know, everybody's in a different situation. That's why I say people got the same story with different music behind it. You know, so it's just taking advantage of people, and I say take advantage of them to give them information to assist them. I tell people, I don't know it all, but I do know enough to know that I'm willing to learn more.
Mm. Listen, man. In closing, you want to give out any shout outs?
I just want to shout out my family, your family, our supporters, those that may not support, but they are supporting because there's motivation. Anything you want to do, any goals. And I want to tell you something too, real quick. We talk about learning from people. I never told you this. I use something that you text me years ago. I use it to this day because I never heard of it. And it's hope all is well. I got that from you. Hope all is well. You know, I'm like, no, Nap always put this. Everything I put hope all is well. And I mean it. You know, I mean that. And another thing, this, I think I had known you for 2 weeks. I signed with you. And mom had went on with God, right? I said, hold on. I said, I got to go to this funeral because that's something so dear to you. At that point, I said, that's big bro. Forget the business stuff. I want to be there at a moment in his life to where someone that's so dear to him. And I meant that. I thank you for allowing me to come to the funeral. You know, like I never got a chance to tell you that, to let you know that my bond started on that day. We haven't had a contract in years,
right?
Where nobody would know that. Nobody would know that. Oh, that's not business. Nobody would know that. See, it's your character, it's your roots, it's how you was brought up. It's instilled in you. You know, so I thank you for that. I love you, your wife, your family, man. Seeing, just seeing what you're doing with your son, Brandon. Just with the people, period, what you're doing right now, you're giving information. And the last thing I'm gonna say is this. Make sure your next shot is over your opponent and never at your opponent. God bless you and thank you for this opportunity.
Listen, love you back, bro.
Love you.
This is Waliyy Dixon, A.K.A. the main event. I'm speechless, but this man means a lot to me. He's near and dear to my heart. So y'all make sure you go tap in with Main Event. Let them know where they can find you on social media, man.
Instagram official Main Event and one. Facebook Waliyy Dixon, Waliyy Main Event Dixon. And you also go to the website www.btsba.com. Once again, www.btsba.com. God bless you all.
Appreciate you, bro.
Love
Talk
you, bro.
to you soon. Once again, that was none other than the Main Event, Waliyy Dixon. Man, again, a lot of good information. He's a great source of information. And that truly is like my little brother. Like he said, I've been representing Waliyy for years. And the thing that you heard so clearly, he's very passionate about the things that he does, very passionate about giving back to not only his community, but wherever he steps, wherever his presence goes, that's his community. And he really enjoys giving back. So please tap in with him on his social media and make sure that you support each one, teach one. We are all here to make each other better. So keep that in mind. I am Eugene Napoleon. This is Relatively Sports with yours truly. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next week. Take care.